All right, everybody. We are back with another Christian Weston Chandler Love Quest. Quickie reading. Sorry, I'm just excited because we are going to read the Love Quest portion, which I am so happy for. But let's start with this quote. I do not know why I would expect any woman to be attracted to me in public, Chris, in a sudden moment of clarity, except for the fact that I am handsome. Well, so much for that. And let's just take a look at this picture right here. How Chris views himself. Chris Chan, warrior of love. Oh, look at it. Oh, they even has a little quote here. That's awesome. As his friends lie helpless behind him, pleading for him to stop, Christian unveils his crystal Sonichu medallion and begins to unleash his ultimate power. He turns his head and gives his companions a reassuring smile, although he very well knows in order to save the lives of his boyfriend, fellow soldiers, and planet, he must sacrifice his own. What the heck? Sorry about that, by the way. Um, so let's start. The Love Quest, or the Sweetheart Search, was the longest real-life saga of Christian Weston Chandler. His goal was to obtain a girlfriend. The stated purpose of the Love Quest was to meet a woman who would be his first true love, solve all his problems, and bear his daughter Crystal. God, he was so specific with that. His Love Quest represented a focused effort to do everything in his power to achieve romantic fulfillment, except, of course, improving himself. For over a decade, from 2003 to 2018. Holy shit, the Love Quest was ongoing with Chris unsurprisingly not having made any progress whatsoever in finding a romantic partner. The nearest he had come was losing his virginity to a prostitute. As of 2016, he would seek other means of romantic satisfaction, but the quest went on. During early 2018, Chris seemingly ended his love quest, declaring himself happily married to several of his fictional OCs. That sounds interesting. Whether this is self-denial of his failure, or finding a sweetheart, or Chris's inevitable resignation to the truth remains unclear. Its origins. What the hell is this? Oh, this is something legit you can get in Left 4 Dead 2. That is amazing. Okay, background. The catalyst for the Love Quest was Christian's encounter with Sarah Hammer, on whom he had a crush during his move back to Ruckersville and his enrollment at the Piedmont, Virginia Community College. This occurred somewhere between June 2000 and October 2003. Sarah is presumably the first woman of any significance to tell the ever-naive Chris, "I have a boyfriend." Chris was surprised to learn that his childhood gal pal was romantically involved with Wes Isley. Upon making this discovery, he quickly developed an intense jealousy of Isley, who he didn't even know, and resentment towards him that would set his state of mind for the impending quest. Throughout 2003, Chris passively expressed his longing and envy by way of Chris plus Sarah life shares and BFFs, best friends for which I'm assuming are comics. I don't know. Maybe I'll look at those sometime. It is clear that Chris had at some point decided Sarah was supposed to be his soulmate, although perhaps not until he learned she was unavailable, and had difficulty accepting that this would not be a possibility. In 2005, following Sarah's breakup with Isley and hookup with William Spicer, he dealt with the situation more openly and publicly in Sonichu #2. This acceptance perhaps stems from his turn to the new object of infatuation. Oh, it's Megan. Oh, geez. Epiphany. According to Chris, the genesis of the Love Quest was his 21st birthday in February 24th, 2003. On this date, he was kicked out of his college English class after a dispute with his teacher. In his Wikipedia biography, Chris claimed the teacher rejected him I don't know what that was wrong with me today. In his Wikipedia biography, Chris claimed the teacher ejected him simply on account of his autism, which of course bears no resemblance to reality. When asked about it again later by her girlfriend, he designs to mention designs. That probably decides. He decides to mention that it may have had something to do with belligerently slandering classmates and making racist remarks. Oh, that figures. Because apparently from his videos, he has no problem saying the N-word. Like, he's done it multiple times, and it's always really creepy when he does it. At any rate, while waiting for his next class, Chris sat and cried his eyes out, presenting that there was nobody to comfort him like there was at his graduation. Shortly thereafter, he resolved that he needed a girlfriend. Presumably, the connection between these events is that Chris felt hurt and ostracized by his punishment, leading him to recognize his need for someone who would appreciate him unconditionally. However, Chris further states that his love quest officially began in August of 2003, suggesting that he waited 6 months to actually execute his plans. Figures. Oh my God! Is one of his Yu-Gi-Oh cards, girlfriend attraction, a spell card.
Sigh, I wish I could attract an 18-year-old boyfriend for a woman.
Special summon one female monster from your hand or deck onto your side of the field. Actually, if they had made that more specific, like an actual type of monster card, that'd actually be kind of a useful card to have in your deck. But salad days. Okay, well, I don't know what that is. At some point early on in the quest, Chris developed an intense, socially crippling fear that all women, at least all the women he likes, have boyfriends. Since his autism caused him to approach social tasks in the bluntest manner possible, it can be inferred that his initial approach was to walk up to women out of nowhere and frankly ask if they would go out with him. It may be further inferred that Chris's unrelenting persistence made it extremely difficult for a woman he liked to get rid of him, short of claiming to have a boyfriend. In any case, Chris quickly lost nearly all of his confidence in talking to women and developed an irrational hatred of boyfriends, or jerks. Basically, all men everywhere except himself and his father, even though his father seems like a real asshole. Since this time, he has always specified that his potential girlfriend must be a boyfriend-free girl, which is unnecessary outside of some kind of polygamous agreement. Conflict with Mary Lee Walsh. Yeah. I've been waiting for this one. By October 2003, Chris had put into practice what was the only sensible idea he could come up with that was inexpensive, sitting on the CWCki campus holding a sign that said, "I am a 21-year-old male seeking an 18 to 21-year-old single female companion." This would be the first of many versions of the attraction sign, a vital tool in the love quest for several years to come. Sometime during October, the school's Dean of Student Services, Mary Lee Walsh, confronted Chris and confiscated his sign. According to Chris's recollection of the event, then in mid-October, the quote-unquote Dean of Student Services, that was unnecessary, but whatever, Mary Lee Walsh approached me and pulled my sign away from me and told me, "You're not allowed to find true love here." My heart was shattered at that very moment. Oh my God. What is far more likely to have occurred is this. Walsh probably decided Chris was making a nuisance of himself and asked him what he thought he was doing. Chris probably delivered a big confusing monologue about seeking his true love, and judging by what I've seen in his comics, that is probably true. And Walsh then likely dismissed the substance of Chris's response with, "You can't do that here." Walsh's point of contention was undoubtedly just a sign, whatever Chris may have to say about it. Undaunted by Walsh, Chris simply made a new sign, but a few weeks later, Walsh confronted him again. In late January 2004, Chris revised his strategy, leaving copies of the Sonichu newsletter strewn about campus. Each one containing a single personal ad about himself. By February, Walsh had cracked down on Chris again, banning the distribution of the news dash. Owing to repeated violations of campus policy, Walsh took Chris to our office to discuss the problem with him. In Chris's own words, "Then that B-dog ripped up my notes and all, dragged me to our quarters and talked down to me very rudely and hoarsely." Did he mean harshly there? Hoarsely. Let's see what that means. Hoarsely. Sounding rough and harsh. So maybe he means hoarse. Either one. I reacted with my own attack that she had been asking for the whole time. I was kicked out of PVC for a year and had to take an anger management course and see a psychiatrist for a while. The extent of the attack Chris made against Walsh, whether it was physical or just a curse, "Yay, hammy ha," is unknown. Although it would have had to have been something pretty serious to get him suspended from PVCC and forced to undergo counseling. The timing of the incident is also unclear, but Chris has cited the 16th of September 2004 as the date of his suspension. The jerk ops, the conflicts with jerk ops. By August of 2004, Chris has expanded his quest to other attraction locations beside PVCC, such as Charlottesville Fashion Square. It was here that he attempted a new tactic. Inspired by Excel Saga, laying a red string of fate across the mall floor. This inevitably led to a confrontation with mall security, making this Chris's first recorded encounter with the jerk ops. By September, Chris had somehow learned that loitering in public places with a sign advertising his services as a boyfriend made it look like he was trying to sell himself like a new car, but he still managed to miss the point and believed that this was something he could work to his advantage. He continued to have confrontations with mall security until the 11th of September 2004 when he was arrested, handcuffed, and forbidden from entering the mall without one of his parents. With both his attractions and locations denied to him, Chris became more lonely and depressed than usual. In his diary, he he expressed an interest in asking Santa Claus, spelled Claus wrong, but of course he did, for a girlfriend. According to emails leaked by Jackie, Chris was completely serious and believed in Santa until he was 24. That's not surprising. That's not surprising at all. Anna McLaren, the woman who made the Tale the Crazy Pacer? Okay. At some point in 2004, Chris has expanded his activities in the mall, including pacing around a lot, playing videos on his Game Boy Advance SP, shouting at walls, or singing random songs from memory now and then. He was apparently infamous to Anna McLaren and her friends by the time he finally worked up the nerve to enter the store where Anna worked to strike up a conversation with her. Anna handled herself as politely as she could while having zero interest in his pathetic romantic overtures and apparently convinced him that she was off the market. Despite becoming one of Chris's closest friends. Was she really? Anna would later document the 2004 incident in a 2006 blog post, confirming that despite whatever good qualities she sees in Chris, deep down she knows he's a few electric hedgehog Pokemon sort of a chaotic combo. Who's this woman? Oh, this is Anna. So Anna's gay, apparently. I did not know that. Either that was just an excuse not to see him, which I wouldn't blame her for doing. Hannah. On the 29th of March of 2005, Chris, who had somehow regained full access to the mall, momentarily believed his prayers had been answered when he was approached by Hannah, a girl who worked at the local Starbucks. She invited Chris to have coffee with her, and Chris quickly overreacted to the sudden reversal of fortune, calling his mother and showing Hannah his entire Sonichu scrapbook. Oh my God. Can you imagine what that poor woman must have felt when he was like, "This is my Sonichu. I created him during my schooling days, and this is his girlfriend and wife, Rose Chew. You also want to see them having sex, because I drew a few pictures of that as well." Anna McLaren later informed Chris that Hannah was simply trolling him for the lulz. In shock, Chris confronted Hannah, and when she admitted the truth, he ran away screaming, "No!" He apparently made enough of a scene to get himself banned from the mall again. Subsequently, Chris dramatized the whole story in the comic, where he was able to get the last word in exactly the way he could not in real life. And also in the comic that I saw, Rose Chu is the one that told him and not Hannah, which is very, very weird, but it's fucking Chris, so why not? The managerks. Around June 2005, with the mall becoming a more difficult place to pick up chicks, Chris turned to his local Walmart, where he would go to the in-store McDonald's, set up his sign in various nerd amusements, and wait around for hours. On the 20th of June 2005, that's 2 days before my birthday, Chris was confronted by the men he identified as B Manager and Married Senior Comic, who took issue with his sign and, probably in reaction to belligerent behavior, called the police on him. Chris hid the sign, effectively avoiding criminal charges for sexual solicitation, but he was banned from the McDonald's. He did not interpret it to mean that he was banned from the Walmart, however. On the 22nd of June, that's my birthday, after the first incident, Chris again came into conflict with B Manager and over his pixel block sculptures, and the conflict drew the attention of the WM Manager. Whatever. The manager apparently attempted to discuss the situation with Chris. But I sat silent for a minute, and then I said to him, "I do not speak to any man other than myself, because they have all taken all the pretty girls, leaving me with none." Verbal combat started, and during the fight, I ran off, still giving verbal punishment, as well as the finger and many cursey hamihas. I nearly backed up into him in my car, and I gave him another finger, then I dashed off. Well, that's a good birthday present for me. In July, unsurprisingly, having been banned from Walmart, Chris relocated to the newly opened Charlottesville Target, where he quickly found himself in trouble for loitering. Chris refused to leave at first, but when store employees returned with police officers, including Baggett, Chris offered to leave if they would listen to his prepared speech. According to Chris's account of the incident, 5 officers jumped on him and hogtied him without provocation. Yeah, I don't think it was without provocation if they actually did. His account was so blatantly fantastic and biased that it's difficult to draw any conclusions about what actually happened. For 5 police officers who have subdued him, he must have presumably have been egregiously stubborn in dealing with them. Indeed, in the dramatization of these events in Sonichu 4, the jerk ops need nothing short of a giant robot to capture Chris. And this time his twin sister, oh god, that was so funny. His fucking twin sister rescues him so that they can destroy the jerk ops entire operation, which of course is commanded remotely by Mary Lee Walsh from the PVCC. Chris has said that he eventually cleared of all criminal charges related to that dispute at Target. It was apparently at this point that his mother, in a dazzling display of parental guidance, which she would most likely never show again, informed him about 2 years too late that the attraction sign made him look retarded. And we will stop here for today. And when we do, I'll give a brief thing about Megan. Well, I'll start here back at the Megan Schroeder. I won't go into the Megan Schroeder thing because I want to make an entire video about her because she is an entire case of her own, and I feel so bad for her. So next time I do this, I'm going to start with when he goes on to the internet love quest, which shall be fun. Until then, I am signing off.